Yo, what's up? It's your boy Elijah. Welcome back to another edition of Glenn's Is How I See It, Humble Dad episode number 26. We in here. And want to introduce a special guest. All of them are special in some type of way. This young man, I remember meeting in East Texas, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 years ago. And we've been friends and kindred spirits ever since. He has sons, and he's going to talk to us about how has he been able to tutor them, good, bad, or indifferent. So I want to welcome my friend, my homie, Mr. Mark, to the stage.
Hey,
What's
good
going
to
on,
be here,
sir?
man. It's good to be here, sir. Real
I
good.
appreciate, I appreciate you being on, man. I want to kind of, we were talking behind screen or whatever
hmm
about your thoughts on why you feel like this is needed. Care to share that?
Yes, definitely. You know, as men, we're called to sharpen one another, and I think this is a great platform for men of all ages to come and share your insights on our most important calling, which is being a father, being a
Yeah.
dad, being involved. Uh, I've watched a couple of episodes, like I told you, and have been challenged and
Oh, wow.
encouraged. And I hope that my story, I'm coming at this from the rearview mirror. My boys are
Mm,
23 and
okay.
29. And
Yeah.
so the best mistakes you can learn from is somebody else's, right?
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. That's what's up, man. I'm appreciative that you said that. So I want to go ahead and dive off in it. So, what do you think the difference between a dad and a father are, or do you feel like there is a difference?
oh, there's a big difference.
All right.
Um, dads, you, it's you can be labeled a dad because of a certain act. You brought a child into this world,
Okay.
but fathers are invested.
Okay.
Fathers are selfless, and I'm gonna tell you, my dad left my mom and I in Euless, Texas, when I was 7 years old.
No way. I live in Hurst.
Yep.
Wow.
And man, the only thing, people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
I kid you not. My answer was, I want to be a dad. I want to be a father. That was my answer growing up. My
Wow.
career choices always changed, but the main thing I always wanted to be was a
Wow.
dad.
Wow. Wow. What makes you want to be a dad, seeing as though that your dad was not there?
Because that vacancy, I had a very strong. I lived in the same town as my grandparents, and my grandfather was a man of God,
Okay.
and he raised his children well. And I grew up around strong. I wasn't an athlete, but I got to be the team manager and things like that. And there
It's a
were
big deal.
two coaches. They were brothers, Mark and Gib Dalzell. They invested in this awkward, scrawny teenage boy that was awkward and, like I said, and everything, but they invested in me.
Hmm.
And they had Mark had two girls, Gib had two sons, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's what it's about, not what I had. Those are
Wow.
fathers. Those are fathers, and those men mentored me and some others, and I was like, I want to be a dad.
So take me to one of the times that you remember that they was like mentoring you, and what happened, and then what
Okay.
was it that they said that kind of inspired you to have that sense?
Well, I was involved in Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I became president, which is weird. Like I said, I had the
Uh,
Christian part down, the fellowship part down. It's not that athletic.
that is awesome.
Yeah. So, a matter of fact, Jack, my youngest, one of his high school principals, uh, one time he saw me trying to pull out the little tunnel before a football game, and I guess I tripped over something. And he came up, he goes, "Mr. Rogers, can I guess? I'm gonna guess something." I go, "What that?" And he goes, I bet you're every bit the athlete now that you were in high school. And he's right. I can say that because, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
But Gib was a runner, and he's like, he trained, and he goes, Mark, come on, run with me. And that's how it started. And then his brother Mark became the sponsor of FCA. And so we got together, and he goes, I'm going to tell you, one of the craziest things to me about this man is, as we grew, one night him and his wife wanted to go out, and he asked me, he goes, will you watch my daughters? Yeah.
Yes, you?
Yes. A teenage boy.
Wow.
Now, times were a little different back in the 80s. I'm an old dude,
Yeah.
But he trusted me.
Wow.
And I saw how much he cared and loved about his daughter. And I'm like, man, this man trusts me.
Wow.
I'm worth something. And then, like I said, I was like, those are two Christian men who are invested in their kids, who love their kids. That's it. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to be a father. I'm going to be a Christian man and lead my family and lead my kids in the way that I see these two men leading, and the way they have loved on me. I'm not their kid, but they saw an orphan, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
They saw a young man who had potential, but who had no clue what fatherhood was about. And they invited me into their life.
Wow. And so you still remember that?
Yeah. And they trusted. And he trusted me, man.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So that's pretty big, especially for a teenage boy, for somebody to invest in them, to trust them, to treat them actually like they're a man, right? Or about to be a man. This is a sense of responsibility that I'm giving. I'm basically trusting you with my life, because these are my kids. You know what I'm saying? I definitely wouldn't be that individual right now to trust. No.
I have sons. I have daughters, but there's no way.
So how many kids you got? How many kids you got?
2 boys. My oldest is 29, Dylan, and then Jack, who you remember from y'all kind of connected some of the Red Ink stuff, and Jack's 23. Both are engaged.
Wow.
Dylan's getting married in May.
Okay.
And Jack is getting married in February next year.
Wow. So they was competing to see who was gonna get married first.
I guess so.
So take me back to when they were kids. Like, what do you remember? Tell me some stories about when you enjoyed. You was like, yes, this is what I grew up thinking that I would do, and what I wanted to become. And then take me to that story where you're like, I don't know if I really want this story. Go ahead.
Okay. You're kind of fading in and out on me, but I think I got that question.
Okay.
When they were younger, when they were boys, I mean, I guess I just wanted to be at everything I could be at.
Okay.
Because I didn't have that. But and that was part of it. And when we would take trips, because Vicky's family was here in East Texas, and we lived up in Dallas and North Texas. I worked retail for a while, and we traveled a lot.
Okay.
And we took that scripture serious about in your comings and your goings, talk about my word, basically.
Okay,
and our trips, man, were full of conversation. If a news story would come off across the radio, we would talk about it and then try to spin it through a biblical lens.
That's
just
cool.
Everyday conversations. We didn't just straight up listen to Christian radio. We listened to it a lot, but we'd also listen to other songs. Great opportunity to talk about, well, what do you think they're singing about? Well, what do you like about that song? I mean, as I got older as teenagers, man, we had some deep conversations about Eminem.
Really?
Yeah. Especially like, why do you think there's so much anger? Why do you think he talks this way about women? What do you know about his story?
Wow.
And then we would get into his story because,
That's really good.
You can be that parent that's like, don't listen to this music because there's this in it, that in it, that in it. Or you can be that parent that's like, why do you listen to that music?
Yeah. Get them to think about what it is as opposed to
Exactly.
you just giving them the no without them giving them the opportunity to say, okay, why am I listening to this?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes. Because I mean, just especially when you get those teenage years, oh mercy.
I'm not there yet.
I know. I'm just going to tell you, when they hit 8th grade or so, 7th grade, they're going to lose their mind for a little bit, man. It's just.
Well, I taught middle school, so I know.
You do know. They lose their mind. Best advice I ever got from somebody, I especially went through this with Jack, with my youngest, is man, I'm like, who are you? Because we were buds. We were buds and everything.
Yeah.
And then middle school came and he's like, don't talk to me, dude.
Yeah.
You're crushing my
You're
style.
lame. Yeah, you're
I'm like,
lame.
but Walt Mueller wrote a great book called The Space in Between.
Say the name again.
Walt Mueller.
Walt
He's
Mueller.
like a youth expert, man. He's up in Philadelphia. Are you familiar with Mark Matlock? He's like the Norse version. Mark Matlock is a youth specialist too.
Okay.
But anyway, he wrote this book, and I recommend it. Huh?
This is a lot of marks.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But Walt Mueller, it's called Space in Between. And it's basically talking about that space between childhood and adulthood that we call adolescence, and in the teen years. And it's talking about that space, but it's also talking about the space that you need to give your teenagers during that time. That time of journey, that time of exploration, that time, let them fail.
Yeah.
That's hard as a parent.
Yeah. You know how yeah, that's crazy.
What?
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. What's crazy about that statement? I mean, the statement is awesome.
Yeah.
Being a middle school teacher for 11 years, that was the one thing that they did not want kids to do.
Wow.
In education, they did not want it. Well, they would say it. They would say, "Okay, let them fail," but they would only want them to fail like that day. But they wouldn't want them to fail like a 6 weeks. They wouldn't want them to fail a semester. They wouldn't want them to fail a school year, right? So it doesn't teach anybody. It doesn't teach the kid to want it, right?
Exactly.
Then so if you let anybody fail, right, you'll get to see their mental state, right? Because if you fail, you get to see if you're a go-getter or you're a quitter.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And so as a young person, if you're a quitter, then I can teach you, get your mind to be a go-getter. But it's harder once you get older because you're like, man, all this time they've been passing me. I didn't have to do no work to get to the next level. Yeah. And I would tell my students, I'll tell my students this. I said, some of y'all know y'all should not be in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Wow.
Right? Y'all know that.
Wow.
Mr. Glenn, he gives you the grade that you deserve or that you earned.
Right.
And what they would see is, oh man, at the beginning, they were like, man, Mr. Glenn, it's hard, which is true. But by the end, they would be like, man, I'm glad that you set me up for next year. Or they'll come back the following year and say, man, I'm really glad that you allowed me to experience those failures. So that's a good point.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of the participation trophies. Funny story about that. And I can't, this is just him. This is just how God wired Jack Rogers. Okay. 6 years old, 7 years old, they got shellacked at a tournament, but everybody, they hand him that trophy. Dad, what's this? I didn't win anything. I thought trophies were for winners.
Wow.
I'm not keeping this. What? Wow. Okay. I'm only going to, I don't want to keep it. I only want the trophy when we go and we win the game and we win the championship. I want that trophy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. Your mama did right somewhere. But he figured that out. He didn't want that.
That's what's up.
And I guess one of the things I had to learn, I told you I wasn't an athlete, right?
Yes, several times.
But Jack was.
Mm.
Here's the big temptation for Mark, and I think you know where I'm going here.
Okay.
I wanted sometimes so bad to live through that young man.
Okay.
I mean, man, his successes were mine.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna admit, true confessions right here.
Yeah.
I became that dad.
Really?
On the sidelines. I did.
Okay. I haven't met one of them up close.
Oh man, I'm reformed, and this is how it happened. This is how it happened.
Okay.
But at a game, I don't know how old he is at this time, but he comes to the sidelines and goes, "Are you my coach? Dad, are you my coach?" And I go, "Nope." He goes, "Well, I can't hear my coach."
What? How old was he?
I think 9 or 10 or so.
What?
9 or 10, it was getting there, and he's like, "I can't hear my coach."
Wow.
If you want me to play this game, and you tell me listen to your coach, right? Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Wow.
And he goes, I need to listen to him. I can if you're yelling at me too.
Wow. So let me. Oh wow, that's incredible. Okay, so I want to ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
You know, him being 9 or 10, and having the courage to come up to you like that.
Mm-hmm.
What made that? What made that be available? Does that make sense? Like you made that be.
Why would he think that was okay?
Yeah.
Basically, why would he think? I think because he knew that I like to talk to him, and I like to talk to his brother about everything, about different things, and I'm like, y'all can tell me anything. The main thing is just be honest with me.
Wow.
And I think I set the tone with them. I'm like, hey, dude, guys, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not gonna be the best at this. And a lot of it was I listened to my wife too, and because sometimes with both of them, I'd get frustrated because Elijah, I didn't feel like they appreciated what they had. And my wife goes, because I told you what I wanted to be was a dad, because I never had that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm giving them something I never had. And I'm like, how do they know that? Because they've always had you. So I listened to my wife, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make. So that's when I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you got to tell me. I mean, like, I'm gonna tell you, and it's only fair that you get to tell me.
Wow.
And so I think we always had that deal because both of them felt pretty comfortable going, hey, can you back up a little bit?
Wow, that's really cool, man. I like that you stated that you built enough equity, right, with your kid where they're able to come and dialogue with you. That takes me to a moment today, actually, and I'm gonna have to go talk to my daughter today. Me and her had a disagreement. She's 11. I have 4. I have 4. Okay, so 11, 9, 7, and 2.5. Okay.
And your journey is you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool too. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm at home more times than not, but I still got to work, but I get to see them more regularly. But to this morning, like I do the math for them, I assign it, and then sometimes I grade it. And so this time, she had got something wrong, and I gave it back to her, and she was supposed to redo her problems. I get it back from her, and I say, look, you didn't do this. And she's like, yes, I did. Right. And I'm like, you did not do this. Like, yes, you did. I say, so you're lying. Right. And so she's upset because she doesn't like to be called that. Nobody does. Right.
Nope.
And so I'm communicating to her, and I'm not going off the leash, but I'm feeling a certain disrespect, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, she is holding back her frustration because we talked to her about not talking back, right? But she starts crying. Mom comes over. Mom begins to be the mediator, and typically I would say, man, stop, don't be in our conversation. I did that to a degree, but then I felt like, okay, well, she's here and she's trying to help, so allow this opportunity to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was able to, my wife was able to communicate to both of us what each other was trying to say.
Yes.
Right. And at the same time, my daughter calmed down, and I was like, I still love my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And so what I did was I stopped talking, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to be a part of the conversation anymore.
Yep.
But just to let you see how much my daughter still was cool with me is that when I was still at the table working, and she said she wanted to show me something. Oh no, she told me a story about her friend. That's one. That means she still wanted me to know that she's cool, right? All right. And then second, she asked me a question about could she listen to something, right? And so about 15 minutes later, I walked from the table and I gave her a kiss on the forehead, just to let her know Daddy still loves you, right? Even though I didn't say it with my words. And so the thing, as you're talking about, there are going to be mistakes, right? But you gotta own them, man.
Yes.
Man, you gotta own them. You gotta let the kids, you're yelling at them making mistakes as if you're not going to make mistakes. So that's a good one. Who your oldest is
Dylan.
Where?
He's in Houston.
Okay.
And they're both down in the Houston area.
Oh, okay.
One works for a commercial roofing company. That's the oldest. And the other one works in project management for an oil field company down there. That's they both met wonderful young ladies. And when you talk about building equity, my main message, I hope that really resonates, is because I have I'm happy to say my boys and I have really good relationships right now. Really strong place. And I believe that it's strongly that it's because of the good times, the bad times, that the mistakes, through it all. I was present. I invested in them, and now they know who they got. They know who's in their corner.
That's what's up. How do you parent them now?
Oh man, that's such a great question, and I'm learning. Okay, for one thing, the reason you asked me earlier, and another reason this is so important, because as dads, we never stop learning, and we never stop being dads. I'm gonna be a dad until I die or they're gone. I'll always be their father, and I'll always. But now, you talk about that space. One of the things that my wife and I both are having to learn with our boys now is the best advice that you can give your kids is the advice they ask for. Okay?
Good.
Unsolicited advice, they don't want any of that. But if you just talk to them, if you call them, and it's different. One of them likes to talk a lot. One of them, every day I'll probably get a text or talk to him, and that's my oldest. And the youngest is, hey, Dad, and I know, and we're cool. It's different.
Yeah.
Your relationship with your kids is different.
Yeah.
And I've had to explain to them.
That's crazy.
Even now, even as young adults, I had to explain to them sometime that, treating you equally is not treating you the same. Because y'all are different dudes.
Yeah.
Y'all are different dudes. One of you needs this from me, and the other needs this from me.
Yeah.
Your needs and your wants are different.
Yeah.
So it would be unfair to me to treat you both the same.
That's good. How do you determine how you're going to let me go back. Like
Okay.
when they were younger,
Yes.
like what are some what were some of the things that that kind of made them tick, if you will? Like what was the thing that got them going, or what was the thing that kind of pulled them back? And then you were able to kind of assess and then parent from that angle.
Okay.
Question.
No, I think I get it. I think you know, for Jack, he needed space a lot earlier than his brother did.
Okay.
Okay. If dad was in his grill about something, I don't need that. I got that. Let me figure this out. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm.
Dylan would kind of need a more upfront. This is how it's going. This is what about and I mean, and there again, you had to be careful and figure things out.
Yeah.
But I just think that was one of the things. One was more of a homebody. The other one wanted to be was a social. Jack was social.
Yeah.
That's what made him tick. So I had to make sure, and prime example, most of Jack's sports were team sports.
Yeah.
Dylan's sports, individual sports, track, cross country, powerlifting. You still wanted to do things to succeed, to help the team succeed.
Yeah.
But it was kind of more individualized. And Jack needed to be involved in community.
Hold on real quick. You can hear my daughter.
I do hear.
Daddy's on the call. Okay. Thank you, baby. Hey, that's my 2.5-year-old. She gonna come.
That's awesome, man. That's good. So the other thing was I'm a bivocational youth pastor.
Okay, you still okay? I didn't know if you
still do that. Now, that started when Dylan was leaving high school, and Jack was entering middle school.
Is that when we first met?
Yes, that's about when we first met. That's right around 2010 or so. That right around there. Okay. That's when we met. And so Jack, he connected with a lot of the older kids in my youth group. And then those kids graduated. And we're out in a small country church. Okay. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people. And this was a tough call, what I'm about to tell you. But Jack came to his mother and I, and he goes, "Hey, I don't feel connected at Hickory Grove." And he goes, "Dad, don't take this the wrong way, but man, you're the Sunday school teacher. You're teaching on Sunday night. You're teaching on Wednesday night, and you're my dad. That's overload."
That's wow.
And he goes, "And I have connected. And there was this man who taught Sunday school at another church closer to White Oak. Kilgore's 30 minutes away. And there's this man in the White Oak community. And God rest his soul, we lost him 5 years ago. But when Jack was in middle school, high school, his name was Mike Teague. And he was a maker of disciples, man.
Okay.
And Jack goes, "Can I go to there? Can I go? No offense, but can I go to that church?
Wow.
Can I connect with him?" I met up with Mike and I said, "Look, man." And then I prayed with Vicky. Wow. And then I went to the leadership of my church and I said, "This may sound strange and y'all may want to get rid of me. I don't know. But my son can't go to church here and be in my youth group. He needs something else."
That's big.
He needs me to be dad.
Wow.
And I've read other study, and there's study upon study that if kids that stay involved in church, A, they are discipled by their parents, but B, they have other key adults investing in them besides mom and dad.
That's a good point.
And they do, and it's true. And so I'm like, yeah, So I went to the church. I said, "This is what I'm going to do," and they all supported it.
That's cool.
And you know, I'll be honest, and Jack won't mind me being honest. As adults, my boys, Dylan has gotten involved, found a church home. Jack has yet to do that, but you know what? That's their journey.
Yeah, wow.
That's their journey, man.
Yeah.
One thing my wife's helped me learn, not only just with my 2 boys, but also with my youth group, I can't be the Holy Spirit. And that's very frustrating. I'm telling you, as dads, we want to fix it, right?
Wait, let me pause.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question because you said that it's very frustrating not being able to be the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
If you kind of think about that a little bit more,
you
might not want to be. That would be even more frustrating because we don't always listen.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And she helped me understand that too. Like, if you're upset because they're not listening to you, no, you're preaching God. They ain't listening to him. And God will not force himself on anybody. And then I came to this with my boy, and this was freeing. This was so freeing. As they got older and needed more freedom and everything, I'm not responsible for how my boys respond to what I'm teaching them. Now, there's certain things as they're growing up, certain boundaries, certain disciplines, certain disciplinary action I take. But ultimately, and as far as their relationship with God goes, I'm not responsible for their response. They are.
That's good because that's a good word, dude, because that's the one thing that I've been trying to manage with my kids because they're around it of the Bible regularly. Like, for example, we do Bible study every morning. They go to a precept class where they study the Bible. Then on Sunday mornings, of course, they go to church and they're in Bible drill as well. And I sometimes impress upon them to be more of like doers, almost legalistically, as opposed to doing it because you love God. And so that balance in trying to educate them on, listen, I want you all to not love God because I do. Like I want you to do that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is even me talking to my 6-year-old.
Yes.
He's 7 now. He just turned 7 on Sunday, and telling them, you all are going to have to eventually make your own decision of who God is and what. Right now, we're reading through Revelation, and then all the despair that is happening to the earth, and so they're talking about how, oh yeah, we got to get right, and we got to tell others about getting right.
That's awesome.
And so that fine line, though, between being legalistic and kind of telling them this is what it looks like to love God is one of the things that I've been working on. But
maybe this will help because this one thing I learned kind of in hindsight, where I would frustrate my boys the most and they could read right through it. And where I would go wrong from a discipline standpoint is because I forgot whose image I was supposed to form them in. I forgot whose image I was supposed to get them to chase.
Yeah.
I had them chasing my image.
Wow.
Jack's like, you're more worried about me being a youth pastor kid and about embarrassing you than you really are anything else. And I was like,
Wow. Man, that's tough.
And I was mad after that. And I got along with God. I'm like, who's he to tell me that? I'm like, what's his problem? He goes, no. And God, the Holy Spirit's like, no. Whose image are you worried about, Mark? You worried about your image or my image?
Wow. That's heavy, man. I don't know why you didn't feel like you weren't gonna be good for this, bro. Like, you spitting out straight facts and fight.
It's just what God's thrown at me. It's just what I've learned from being stupid. And and walking in my flesh and not, and not listening from times. And then when I would listen to God, of course, but when I listened to my wife, when I listened to my sons.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, with all these great things you're doing and the great things I heard Saturday, the young man you were interviewing that he's doing with his kids.
Have you met him before?
I have not. I need
Y'all
to.
live in the same area.
Oh, do we? Okay,
yes.
I'll get with you. I need to figure out how to meet him.
Y'all live close by each other. Yeah.
Yeah, because we need to get that info. But the one thing is there's no magic formula to fatherhood. There's no guarantees, because they, like you said, they have to respond to God. You can do all these things right. I'm gonna tell you another thing about my story, and he won't mind because we've talked about it. He knows.
Okay.
My oldest, 2 years in March, he'll be sober for 2 years in March.
That's amazing.
He's a recovering addict.
Oh man, praise God for that.
Our big and it started. Our journey started right after he graduated high school, and that the one thing he will tell you is that one thing I learned from that is what unconditional love really is.
Really?
What unconditional love really is. And then I learned how to love my wife better.
Really?
How to nurture her through this.
Yeah.
Okay, because as men, here we go. What do we want to do? We want to fix things.
We want to fix everything.
And when our kids are busting things up and making our wife sick and miserable, because we want to just blow them up.
Yes.
And here's what God gave me about that. So I'm walking in the forest and I see a bear. A mama bear.
This is real.
No, this is an analogy.
Okay.
If I saw a bear in the forest, I'm running.
Okay, I was just checking. Sorry.
Track with me here. Here we go.
Yeah.
So, and her 2 cubs are attacking her. So you want to go help the mama bear because you don't want those cubs hurting her. But if you go to pull those baby cubs off of mama bear, she's going to kill you. Our wives are no different. My boys would get disrespectful with her. She'd be frustrated with it. I'm going to go fix that. No. I want you to listen to my frustration. I want you to listen to my hurt. I want you to help me walk through how to deal with their disrespect. I don't want you to fix it. Wow. I go attack her cubs. She's going to attack me.
That's interesting, because the reason why it's interesting is because I've heard other men say something totally different.
Yeah.
Like my pastor and another guy that I interviewed. My pastor, he said that he remembers specifically, I think it was Dante who was like the last episode.
Yeah.
He said the only time that he remembered his dad yelling was when when Dante himself had disrespected his mother. And then his dad was like, got in his face and said, "Don't you ever do anything like that before." Right. So it's interesting that
she would want me to do it, but take care of it.
Yeah.
But I needed to not just jump right away and look like I'm attacking them.
Okay.
There's a way to tell your son, don't talk to your mama like that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Without being a jerk.
Yeah.
Without, I'm fixing you, boy. No, yeah. It's like, look, that's my wife. And that's what she was saying. Don't just jump right on. And what led to Dylan's big journey into sobriety was we had finally, because he was, in and out of our house and all that. And it finally came to a tipping point. She was miserable. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. I saw I was about to have to put my wife in the hospital.
Man.
And so I said, babe, enough's enough. I know this is bad. And this was the coldest day of the year back in 19.
Wow.
And I said, but I got to go in. And I'm gonna tell Dylan we're done, and I'm kicking them out.
Oh wow!
And she goes, I don't want to be around for that. She goes, Can you drop me off at my mom and dad's? I can't see. I know that that's what you have to do.
Wow!
But I've got to let you do that. So see, I learned how to listen.
Yeah.
My wife, I learned how to wait to see when she was ready.
Yeah.
For me to make that move, because if I made that move without her,
yeah, for sure,
without her support, without her buy-in,
yeah,
then I'm oof.
Yeah.
So and I prayed, God, I was like, you know my wife's heart, you know what's going on. I need your intervention in this. I need you to get her where we need to be.
Yeah.
And we did it, and it shook him to his core, and he went to a place down in the Galveston area, and God healed him. And he's seeking, and he'll tell you, I got to seek God's healing every day.
Yeah.
And him and his fiance, they're plugged into church. The fiance does have 3 kids, so I'm gonna be instant granddad in May. I'm too young for that, but
okay.
I'm so proud. And here's nothing. And Dylan's like, Dad, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm gonna ask our pastor to officiate the wedding. I go, oh man, you mean I just get to be dad at your wedding? And he goes, yeah. I said, let's do this. And I'm like, but Dylan, that makes the most sense for you, son. He is your pastor. He's going to be the one guiding you through this, your marriage.
While you're there.
He needs to be the one anointing it at your wedding.
If you was that old dude, though, you would have been like, nah, this is about me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah, but that's growth right there. I want to ask you a tough question.
Uh-oh.
Because you have kids out of the house.
Yes.
Talk to me about how did you have conversations with them about the opposite sex?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It is, and that's why I'm asking you, because there hasn't been too many people on here that I had thought about asking that question.
Oh man!
But I'm asking you
when they were young, or like now. How we talk about that?
When I was young, when they was younger.
When they were younger. Oh, I got the perfect story for that, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Stupid Valtrex commercial. You know
what?
Valtrex. Valtrex is a herpes medicine.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 4th grade, Jack Rogers. The commercial comes on. Okay. He knows a few things, I guess. You'll see what he knows. And this is just because he goes, so how do you get herpes? On the commercial. I'm like, well, from having sex. And he goes, well, you mom have herpes? I'm like, no, we don't. He goes, well, you have sex. And I'm like, time out. I said, I didn't back off from this. I said, you are 100% right. But the reason we don't have herpes is because mom and dad only have sex with each other. We don't venture outside God's design of marriage.
Oh,
people on that commercial that have to take that medicine, they had sex, they had relationships outside of God's design.
Yeah.
And I said, and he goes, oh, okay. Went to his room.
Wow.
But see, that's the thing, and that's the thing. My wife and I've always been open. You, whenever they're ready to talk about it, is when you talk about it. And sex has to be talked about within God's design.
Absolutely.
And both my boys, I never veered away. I know I'm like, we're not having this. I didn't do that. I engaged. I was like, okay, it's time to go. Here we go.
Yeah, we did that.
His questions allowed me, I wasn't gonna say, oh no, we don't have. I ain't got a lot of my kids. How'd you get here? Of course you know.
Right.
So I'm like, I owned it. And I'm like, yeah, we do it. I'm proud of that fact. Oh, okay. But I'm like, I'm proud of the fact that we do, but we don't have herpes because of we do it the way God wants us to.
That's what's up.
And I'm like, if you want to avoid a lot of heartache,
Man,
a lot of pain, don't worry about herpes. I'm like, sex outside of God's design. I always told both my boys this. And and Dylan's conversation happened a little later, and in his age.
Yeah.
When it happened, it was like, dude, first of all, these young ladies, boys, are not objects. They're God's design. They're God's daughters. You will treat them with respect. You will treat them with care. Yeah. I'm like, if you want to mess up a young lady, get sexually involved with her.
Man.
Because you're not just, it's just not physical to them. It's a heart issue. For you, it's a hormone issue.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah.
So, but you're not ready to take care of something as valuable as a young lady's heart. Man. So I encourage my boys not to date. If I didn't prohibit it, because really,
how you gonna do
that? But I encourage them, like, have girls that are good friends, and if you do date them, we had boundaries, especially in our home.
That's what's up.
But just understand, and the cool thing, with Jack really, he didn't date a whole lot. Dylan had one or two girlfriends and everything, but man, in high school, Jack didn't really date. And the first girl Jack really fell hard for, he's about to marry.
Wow, that's cool. Because they say, that's cool. I like the fact that that you and your wife come together to actually raise your kids, and y'all talk to each other as well as talk to your kids, and in that open line of communication, which is not oftentimes allowed in relationship between parents and kids. And what I found is that the more I talk to my children, the more they want to talk back, right? As far as giving me information, they like for me to be there next to them, And also, I hate saying no, I can't hang out with you right now because I gotta work. So I be trying to figure out ways to get that time back somehow.
Right.
I just wanted to ask that question because there's not a lot of men that have been on the channel that have had older kids, and so they're out the house or whatever. And so for those that are watching, that gives them a good opportunity to get their mind ready for when that question is going.
Oh yeah. And with today's media, you never know when that question is going to pop up.
Oh man, I'm glad that we had it. We started having it like when they were like 5 and 6, going through it's a book. They go through the body parts and stuff like that, and then God's design. And so we went through that book. And so now when my daughter, because she's 11, she's aware of it, And so we have those dialogues about. Now I talk to her about boys. I said, like, I'm not ready to talk about boys. I said, listen, I was a middle school teacher. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you before somebody starts talking to you about it. Right. And so we don't talk about, huh?
Do you date your daughter?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact,
makes me jealous, man.
You should be. Because when I go with her by herself, this dynamic of who she is outside of the house is cool to see. I get to hear how she thinks. I get to hear what she thinks about me, what she thinks about mom, what she thinks about the world.
Oh, so good.
Young lady, right? All my kids are great. She's just at that age where she's very intelligent.
That's awesome.
I'm talking about when it comes to observing things.
Yes.
And then my son, Joshua, he is that reserved dude in the cut. Just thinking about things, but he's, but if you ask him a question, he'll answer it, but he's not going to be the first to say, right? Matter of fact, him and his team won the Super Bowl, Little League football.
Come on.
Yeah, and he played. He wasn't the best player on the team, right? However, he was the best at the position. He was like the best at the position they put him in. He was the only player that played 4 different positions.
Oh my gosh!
All on offense. Wow. He played tight end. He played tight end, left tackle, running back, and receiver.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, and he had to know all the plays, right? But anyway, he wasn't the vocal person on the team at all. But he got an award called Silent Assassin. That's what his coach gave him the title because of his demeanor, and he's coming out here to try to win. He's the guy that feels like he's the best in the room no matter what, and you're not gonna even know it. And then my son Ethan, who's 7, he's gonna tell you exactly what he thinks.
Ooh, that's dangerous at 7.
He's like Jack. He's gonna tell you, Dad, you told me this, but that's not what's going on. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying. And then he plays sports, but he's not as athletic as Joshua, but he enjoys having fun. And what I'm learning about him, is that he requires a lot of time.
Right.
Like, that is his love language. Like, Dad, he said to me, and I told it to Dante. I think you may have heard it.
Mm-hmm.
The only time that I'm spending time with him is when
he's in trouble.
The only time, he said it feels like
Bible study.
The Bible, yes. He said that's not spending time with me, Dad. Like you need to be on my time.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm learning learning that and trying to mold that into it. And then my daughter Jordana, who's 2.5, she's that rambunctious, energetic, she all over the place type kid, and just learning her. So yes, I'm in this mode of like parenting, like 11 to 2, but listening to you, we kind of do some similar things.
Yes.
So go ahead.
It's just you're going to reap so much when they get older.
Okay.
Because like I said, my boys, man, they want to talk to me. They, like I said, it's different on each of their terms, but they know that they know that I had their back then, and that I was present then. You've heard that song "Cats in the Cradle," right? Cats in the Cradle. When you coming home, Dad?
No,
nope. I don't know when. Okay, you need to look that song. The gist of it is it was a workaholic dad.
Okay.
Never home. The son's like, "Hey, Dad, let's go play ball. Hey, Dad, let's go do this." And then the son becomes dad, and the dad's calling, "Hey, when you coming home? When will I see you again?" So it's the opposite. It's a cautionary tale of what we don't want to have happen.
Yes.
I was present.
Yeah.
My boys knew I wasn't perfect, but they could talk to me about that.
That's what's up.
And then now that they're adult men, I have that. I put that in the bank, like you said, that equity. Now I can come back and say, here's what I'm seeing. You know what you saw me as a dad? Here's what I'm seeing.
That's what's up.
And I do a lot of times it'll come up in conversation. Like I said, I don't want to give advice that's not asked for. Unsolicited advice will kill a conversation with an adult child.
Absolutely. That is true. I appreciate that. We're going to get, I really appreciate the time. We're going to get into the last couple of questions of the evening. And you know how it goes. You need to give me a number between 1 and 44.
Okay. 1 and 44. Oh, 22.
What was the first album or CD you ever bought?
Oh, man. First album or CD I ever bought. Thriller. I actually got to buy.
What? Okay.
I wore that thing out, man. I wore it. Huh?
Was it a cassette? Or
no, man. It was an album. It was vinyl.
Oh.
Don't you know I wish I still had it?
Yes.
Don't you know? I wish I still had it, and I don't. But yeah, it was vinyl, man. And that thing was worn. I wore needles out on that. I mean, I played that thing over and over again.
Wow.
Dance in my room. Dance in my room. Try to
moonwalk.
Yeah, do the moonwalk. Sing my best. Pretty Young Thing was one of my favorite songs. I try to get that high.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have anything on mic, but you know.
That's what's up. Give me another number.
Another number. Let's go with number 5. That was Jack's football number when he's kicker at White Oak.
What was your favorite book or movie when you were a young kid? When you was like 9, 10?
Oh, golly, favorite book or when I was 9 or 10?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm trying. That's a long time ago, and that was like. Oh, 78. Yeah. Oh, Star Wars. That when I was about 10. Yeah. Okay. Star Wars came out in 78. So
yeah,
I was all about that universe.
That's what's up. My kids, because my wife enjoyed it, because her dad put her onto it, she took that down, and now all my kids love the Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah.
And when my daughter, because she's an avid reader, and so she connects like what's going on in the movie to a book or something. And when she found out, I think it is it Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
When she found out that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father, her mind was blown. I think she was like 8. I think she was 8 when she saw it. So yeah, they like that around here too. Not my favorite, but they like it.
I got you.
What's the next number?
Let's see, 10.
What was your strongest memories of your dad or your grandpa? And if you don't have those, mom or grandma?
No, I oh man, I do. I'm gonna go. Believe it or not, I'll go with my dad.
Okay.
And this is gonna sound crazy because my dad, I told you, my dad left, and I was bitter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And before Vicky and I got engaged, she said, I don't want to marry a man that's going to be a bitter old man. And if you don't forgive your dad, you're going to be a bitter old man. Wow. And you won't be the kind of father I want my kids to have. This is when we were engaged.
Wow.
And so I started making that thing, and my dad and I started talking. And when Dylan was 2 years old, I got on a plane by myself with that child. Wow. And we flew to Maine.
Wow. Maine.
That's where my dad was.
Wow.
And we went and saw my dad. And I didn't let my stepmother, I changed the diapers. I filled the bottles. I did all that.
That's cool.
I'm a dad.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it wasn't to hurt him. It was just to say, I figured it out.
Mm.
And then we spent till 4:00 one morning, me and my dad talking, getting it right. And by doing that, my dad and I continued this relationship, and he came to White Oak, and we sat on my back porch over here. And I got to ask him, Dad, there's only one question I want to know. And I don't think he knew where I was going with this. All right. Tell me about your relationship with God. I said, because Dad,
wow.
when you weren't a father to me, when you went around, my Heavenly Father never abandoned me.
Wow.
And he said, Mark, I know. And he goes, and I asked God for forgiveness. And I know that he's my father too.
Wow.
My dad passed away in October. I got to Florida just in time.
Wow.
before he passed. I got to see him. And the Labor Day before that, Labor Day of 19, I went and saw my dad, and we spent a whole weekend together. Wow. And we went and ate and did all kinds of things. And my dad got to say what he needed to say to me about, he goes, man, I'm proud of the father you are. I goes, I know I didn't lay a good road for you. He goes, and he goes, thank you for just loving me anyway. I'm like, Dad, that's unconditional love. And I wouldn't be who I am without unconditional love.
That's what's up. That's the good.
It came full circle.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I really appreciate the time, homie. This has been really good. I mean, these nuggets that you dropped was crazy, man. So
I hope it helped somebody.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. If it helped me, you know what I'm saying?
Good. Good.
So, as we go out, I want you to have the last, I got two things I'm gonna first ask you, how would you like to for your kids to remember you? Right? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask you that question, and then I'm gonna ask you two more questions after that.
Okay. Man, just that Dad was always there. Dad always had my back. And no matter what I did, his love for me was truly unconditional.
That's good stuff. All right, cool. So that's dope. I mean, I think that is like one of the things. If I make a edited version of everything that all the men have said, that has been that's been the keystone or the cornerstone that most of y'all have said.
Yeah.
So that's dope. Yeah. So this is what I want you to do. Tell me, what do you want the people to know? You have the last words basically. So you have time to tell people what you want to tell them.
All right. The biggest lesson, and as a youth pastor, I'll get to work with parents too. I don't just work with their kids.
Yeah.
Because without the parents, whatever I do doesn't matter.
Yep.
Biggest lesson, looking in the rearview mirror. Lecture less, listen more. And again, that goes back to whose image am I trying to create these boys in? Whose image? And if I want them, we serve a God who listens.
Yeah.
We serve Jesus was a great listener.
Yeah.
He listened a lot. And I just feel like if we would listen to our kids, listen to what's going on in their lives, listen to what they're saying, not just with their mouths, but with their body language. Give them space to process. A lot of times we'll ask our kids, what's wrong? And they'll say, I don't know.
Oh, yes.
You know why? They don't know. You'll find this out, especially when they're teenagers and the hormones and everything starts flipping and changing and all that. They're just going to feel a certain way and not know why.
Okay.
So they say, I don't know. Don't press.
That's good.
Okay, I got you. And let them think about it. And let them think about it.
And then come back to you.
And then come back.
That's good. Man, you another dime. John Stockton in this piece. That's crazy. So who would you say, this is the last question, who would you say your favorite TV dad is?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess because I just watched the reunion of this show.
Okay.
And it goes back to just the one scene, the one iconic scene, but Uncle Phil is my favorite dad.
Okay.
And it goes back to that one scene when Will just had you know what I'm talking about. Will had his heart broken.
Yes. Well, we lost Mark right at the end. Mark, man, I really appreciate the time that you came in and share with us. The dimes just kept coming, man. Please, those that watch the video, please make sure you share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button so whenever I go live, you get what we got. All right, and we out this piece. All right, deuces.